Welcome to Romance Recs. We're three romance-obsessed besties sharing book recs broken down by genres and tropes, so you can be sure you're getting exactly what you want out of your next read. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Romance Recs Pod, and subscribe wherever you listen. Hi guys, I'm Christina. I'm currently reading Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall.
Hey guys, it's Dev, and I am currently reading an arc of Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt.
Hi, I'm Caceres. I am currently rereading one of my favorites, which is Black Sunshine by Karina Halle.
Yeah, I love that book.
Welcome. Hello.
Hi. How are
We're
you
so glad you're
doing?
here.
All right. Well, tell us everything. So we've got a new book coming out in a little bit. Tell us what that is and how everything's going.
Sure. So March 28th, which to those super fans might sound familiar. I am really a little anal retentive, and I decided that instead of having to pick my publishing date every year, every book, that I would publish on the same day every year, all the time. So every year on March 28th, I will put out a full-length book. The first time was Obsidian Feathers, and this time is A Debt of Shattered Hope. And A Debt of Shattered Hope it's my response to Irish Fae. It's based very loosely on it because I put in pretty much all Celtic Fae, like the basic of what Fae are. Fae were never supposed to be butterfly-winged sweethearts. They were literally the nightmare demons of Irish culture and of Gaelic culture. And some of them were nice-ish. And some of them had nice time. But most of them were nightmare creatures. And I feel like we as fairy fuckers have forgotten that. And we needed to bring that back.
I love that.
Yeah, and you've definitely done that. We were just talking earlier about how these are not the cutesy fae. Like the fae in this story are not the ones you want to romance. Like they're very much giving nightmare. And I was so excited. I actually forgot to have us do quotes. So we are going to go back into some quotes before we dig deep into the fae that you've introduced. Well, I think I like this version of fae. I'm not going to lie. I really do. But yeah, so quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a quote I want to share that is from your book. Yeah, A Shadow of Hope. So it is in chapter 20 where the Bandrui, is that how I pronounce that? The Bandrui. Yeah, it's about the Bandrui. But it says, even when tearing someone to shreds, the Bandrui was a sight to behold. She grew more honeyed the more poison she poured upon another. I feel like this alters me on a deep level because that is the type of petty I aspire to be. You're so petty, so scathing that all you see is a smile and a honeyed voice where I'm reading you for Phil. So when I read that, I was like, yes, cheers. I love that for her. But that's and to be fair, this entire book is super highlightable. Like I'm highlighting so many things, but that's just one I wanted to share.
Rest in peace for highlight. Because it's a long book. I actually got that from me at work. So I work in corporate. I do high corporate. And some of the things that high corporate people will do will piss you right the fuck off to the bone. But you can't do anything about it. So the nicer I get at work, and all my teammates know this, the nicer I get, the more I want to just absolutely eviscerate the person. And I was like, I need to be in a fae because it is so fae of me. To just be like, oh, yeah, you know what? I can absolutely do that for you. I know that I sent over this document 4 times already, but let me 1 second. Let me link it for you. I can absolutely do that for you.
Yeah.
In the SharePoint. And if for some reason you can't find it on the SharePoint, let me know. Maybe you have an access issue.
Yeah, very much as per my last
Passive
email.
aggressive.
Yeah, I love that. Very aggressive. But sweet.
Yes, sweet. So they can't ever say, she was being unprofessional. Was she, though? Because that was a recorded call, and she just sounds really nice here.
Yeah, so sweet. So concerned about your access and the receipt of this email and this document.
That's why I had to put it into somebody.
Yeah, no, and it was great. And I love it in this character specifically. I think it's necessary, and it makes sense for her role.
I love that. Okay, so I have a quote. It is actually from a book I have not read yet, which is crazy, but I saw this quote. I saw this quote on TikTok and it moved this book right on up my TBR. Okay. It's a short one, but I love it. It's from Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. It says, "A man was speaking, so I stopped listening." And that's all I need, period, right there.
That'll do it for me as well. Yes, I too would like to read this book now. I see why you were roped into it.
Can I get that delivered to me? Because that is time. Like,
need it on a shirt. Need it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Listening.
Need it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Everything.
I love that. I didn't know what quote you were going to read. I was like, okay, because when you told me it was from a book you ever read, I was like, all right, let's hear what this is going to be. But yeah, I see why we've moved that book up. Thank you so much. Love that. Love that for us.
Top of the list. Because that is correct. So the quote that I have is from Marx, Tupac, and my book. It was originally quoted, or at least that as far as we know, quoted from Marx in one of his speeches. And then Tupac put it into a rap, which is where I first heard it. And it is perfect for this book. And that quote is, "I have nothing left to lose but my chains."
Yeah.
Love.
I feel like that one is super self-explanatory as well. And the fact that it like just traveled across time, because the Marx to book pipeline with Tupac in the middle. It is actually a little diabolical, but it's also, if you read the story, it is so perfect.
Perfect.
That's what we want. And for Tupac, yeah, I love that for him as well. Like,
I love when I grew up with Tupac. And I remember being absolutely, utterly devastated when I found out about him. Like, I wasn't a big fan of music at the time. I was like, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 when that happened.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, what do you mean? What do you mean? That is not a thing. That is a dirty lie.
And he's so poetic.
So to me, I have not found a rapper or any even musical artist really who is as poetic, intelligent, and observant and introspective as Tupac was. And I feel like that would be huge loss for the industry.
Yeah, still as important now as he was 30 years ago.
Exactly. And I like, it would be so cool to see what music would sound like if he was still alive today. You know, just the commentary and the observations of what's going on in the world in our songs and stuff. So I agree. I do agree with that. I would love to have Tupac here with us. And yeah, that was terrifying. I mean, I was like still pretty young when everything happened, but definitely old enough to know something's wrong.
Like, it blew my brain that a celebrity could die. I don't know why, but in my young mind, I was like, what do you mean? Celebrities don't die. Yeah. They just go away. They go to a celebrity farm or something.
They retire. Yeah, they retire. They don't die.
They don't die.
Imagine if they actually didn't die and went to retire on a farm and it was like Animal Farm or something. And like you just had a bunch of celebrities, like just.
With some goats.
Yes, the goats. Oh, the goats. Do you see what I'm saying? The goats, the celebrity goats. Greatest of all time. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Right along because we're here to talk about A Dead and Shattered Hope. Yeah. So again, we talked about the Fae and just how, not crazy, but just mean. They are mean in this book. Okay. Some of them, not everyone, but it's like dark and they're super mean. And I'm like super interested in what inspired the idea for this story, this world. Did it all come to you at once? You're like, yep, I have it. I'm going to follow this tradition and mythology and go that route? Or was it like piece by piece?
Hey, you want to hear the most hilarious thing ever?
Yeah.
Nobody but my writing circle knows this.
Okay.
So this book was called, the whip title was Fork and Balls Forever. Because
I love that.
Everybody just started dying. Because I built the entire world, the entire story, and everything around that fork in the ball scene. That scene came to me first, and I built the entire world around it.
I absolutely love that. And he deserved it.
Emotionally shattered.
That is so funny. You wrote one scene, and then you said, build the world.
Rolling with it.
How do I get wild?
How do I get to here? Yeah.
That is actually so interesting. I find that to be so interesting because sometimes you hear there are a lot of authors who like plot the entire thing and they will not write a drop or write anything until they have an entire story basically plotted out. But here you wrote the scene?
Well,
and then an entire world?
I didn't actually write it. I wrote it in my head.
Okay, so you saw the scene.
I saw the scene in my head and I was like, okay, how do I get to here? And then I started plotting, like after it went and marinated in my head for 6 months to like, okay, how do I get here? Then I went and sat down and I plotted it all out. And I do what's called like a living plot structure. So basically I'll plot everything out in like numbers and then I will just write and try to hit each one of those plot points as I'm writing. And then, for instance, this book originally was only plotted for 20 chapters. That was only 20 beats that I wanted to hit. Yeah. But it's 50-something chapters because, you know, when you actually write and break it out into chapters after you write, then those chapters become bigger. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it all started because I wanted to figure out how I got to a fork in the balls.
Chef's kiss.
I love that. Yes. That's actually so amazing.
Everybody who I've told about that scene is like, how the fuck did you get there? And I'm like, listen, it makes sense. It makes sense. When you get there, it makes sense.
To be fair, I can imagine. Also, you didn't. Okay, for me, I hear fork and balls, and then I'm thinking, okay, is this for play? Is this a comedy here? How did we get into? First, we're in Detroit. Now we're in the land of the fake. You know, I'm just like driving the car, like this street does not make any sense.
The scenic route.
Yeah, very scenic, clearly. But yeah, I love that. I kind of love that idea of having this one image and then deciding to build an entire world that's super rich. Like this world is super rich for it to have stemmed from this one little scene.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love that. And it's a scene that is unexpected in a romance novel, I think. I think that it's pretty unexpected for the female main character to stab the love interest in his testicles with a lunch fork.
Well, when it's this main character, I love her. And that's my next question because we're talking about her. Cricket, she's such a spectacular character.
Thank you.
Is she based off anyone in your life or did you kind of just dream her up or where did she come from?
So Cricket is a combination of things. So the way I create characters, whether it be a main character or a side character or a villain, is I take a small little nugget, a small little bead of myself, and I build that out into a character. And I think, okay, here is their core. Here's a little bead I've pulled off of myself. Here is their core. Build a fully fleshed out creature around this. If this is their core, what additional character attributes, what additional thought processes, moral codes do they have that feed this core? So for me, I grew up dirt poor and I grew up around a lot of people who have a lot of poverty trauma. And I took that poverty trauma and was like, okay, here you go. Now, how do I feed this into a fully fleshed out character? And I noticed that a lot of people that I know that stayed in that same sphere and never had the ability to, or luck or privilege of breaking out of poverty are very bitter about it and very hateful about it. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them are very bitter about it. And I built that bitterness into her, that hate, that guardedness, especially people that grew up in the foster system. I worked before my current corporate job, I worked in a nonprofit. And one of the projects I worked on was assisting the California foster system in aging out programs. So I got to interview a lot of people who grew up in the foster system and a lot of people who aged out, and the bitterness that comes when you hit 18 and realize there is nothing there. Nothing. There is no safety net. There is no one that, unless your foster parents want to, there is no safety net. There is no love. There is nothing. It is just a cold, hard cut. And a lot of the fosters that I interviewed for that project that I was working on, they go through this period in the 5 years post aging out of really deep hatred for everyone. And Cricket never grew out of that. A lot of them do, but Cricket never did.
She's been dealt so much, and she carries that with her everywhere she goes. And also, I'm not mad at her that she has that around her, because, babe, life has lifed you very hard. So I understand why your defenses are always up. I understand why you have all these rules, which, by the way, her rules are like my favorite things. Every time a new rule popped up, I'm like, highlight this. Yeah, I'm going to add this to the collection. So I love that she has that. Like, she has nothing, has no real ties. And so she created these rules to kind of ground herself, ground her personality, or this is my moral code. These are the things that I do not compromise about myself. And I love that. And yeah, I mean, yeah, just hearing that that bead, like you said, that you started her with to kind of direct her, you did it. Because Cricket is like a really
badass.
Yeah, she's a super lovable character. Even with all the trauma she clearly carries around, like that. I don't know. There's just something really refreshing about saying, like, you don't have to be the things that happen to you. You can carry them. They can define the way you move through life. But she still shows up unabashedly herself. I mean, sometimes do I wish she would zip them lips? Absolutely, girl. You are not extending your life expectancy when you open your mouth so much. I wish that time lock was working, because it was and it's like, oh my, because somebody fixed the magic with her tongue. Why does she keep talking? But still, even that.
There are times when I was writing her, and there's because I'm working on the second book right now. There are times when when she opens her mouth, and I'm just like, "Ma'am, I'm not strong enough. Shut up. You need to survive this book, and you're not making it easy for me."
I think everyone around her thinks the same thing. Girl, shut up.
Especially Violet.
Another one of my favorite characters. Absolutely love Violet. You describe Violet's voice so well, like the porcelain and chinky. And so I hear that you're really lazy high character. But then also in my mind, she also talks like she's like 300 years old and smoked Newports every day of her life. So I mix those two in my head. Violet talks this, but then she also is like real good. I don't know. I love Violet. Yeah, very cute.
Violet is one of my favorites too, for that exact reason, because it's so hard. I see her so clearly in my mind, but also it's so hard to hear her because your voice makes no goddamn sense. The things that voice is saying make no goddamn sense.
No. Yeah, dainty and cute and but also when she was getting on Cricket about how she ended up in this situation because she didn't know how to give throat properly, I said, all this coming from a doll? I would be livid if a doll told me, was talking to me. That whole banter, the back and forth, also A1. But let's also respect my elders here, or I punch you in your porcelain face. Because what's happening? What do we do here?
And that's the thing I love about Violet, because you're just like, in your head, you're seeing. I've got the character art. And the character art is literally a Victorian doll with spiral ringlet.
Yeah.
And these big anime eyes. And you're just like, could you imagine that creature talking to you about how much it misses a good morning shit?
Yeah, I know. Poor Violet. She don't need to eat. She don't need to sleep. She don't need to shit. She says, and I understand why she's mad. I understand why she talks the way she talks. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely one of my other favorite characters. Cricket's top, Violet's very close second. I might push Violet above Cricket in certain situations because Violet stands on business. She very
and she
much
knows
so
when to
stands
shut
on
her
business.
mouth.
That's, yeah.
She does back know how to shut her mouth. And
Poor
play the
Cricket
game.
hasn't been alive long enough to have developed that skill.
No, and Violet also has a healthy fear of the Fae. And Cricket's just fuck these pointy-eared fucks.
Yeah. She still doesn't understand the severity of her situation, even with how much has been done to her within the first 10% of the book. You know, like she still hasn't grasped just how different life is and how you have to adapt these survival skills that you've acquired. You need to mold them a little bit to survive here. It's very different than the streets of Detroit. Like you got to fix something about yourself. I'm praying for her.
She doesn't even listen because they're like, oh, don't ever enter a blood oath. And she's like, I'm the way to do a blood oath.
With a mortal enemy.
You know, in my mind, I just see her skipping. Like, yep.
This is a good idea.
Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, poor Cricket. We love you so much.
She is the epitome of that meme gif from South Park of whatever, I do what I want.
Yeah. Actually, that gif. Yeah. Oh, I love her.
More like the Floyd Mayweather one. It's more like the Floyd Mayweather one where I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When he's getting closer and closer to you. Yeah.
Exactly that one.
I love that. I love that.
I see her the meme of her. It's the girl burning the house behind her and she's smiling at the camera.
The little The little kids. The little girl.
I mean,
like
she does talk about burning shit down quite a lot.
Quite a bit. Yeah, she does. Absolutely. Oh, man. Wow. And listeners, that's your Cricket. That is your FMC in this book. So if you love what you're hearing, please mark the release date of this. You definitely want to be introduced to Cricket because she is very fun, but she will make you want to throttle something. But yeah, okay. Always her. You always want to throttle her.
Always her.
You're like, yes, I'm rooting for you, babe. Shut up.
Next page. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And now it is time for this or that.
Oh, dear.
We got to keep you on your toes. I know. Are you ready? All right. And there is no deliberation. There is only hearing the question, thinking 0.2 seconds, and then saying something.
My body is ready. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Physical book or ebook?
Ebook.
Hot or iced drink?
Iced.
Which of the courts would you live in a Den of
None of them. Absolutely fucking none of them.
Good answer. Okay. One bed trope or who did this to you?
It can't be one bed trope because I like my sleep. So who did this to you?
Fair. Okay. Erotic horror or erotica?
Erotic horror. All day, every day.
Well, that's expected. That should have been expected. Okay. Yeah. Standalone or series?
Standalone.
Okay. Yeah. Fated mates or enemies to lovers?
Oh, enemies to lovers.
I mean, yeah, that's fated mates though. Yeah. Okay. Books that make you cry or books that make you laugh?
Books that make me cry. See aforementioned, I need that shit to hurt.
Yeah, true. Exactly. That makes sense. And then, in no particular order, name your top 3 book boyfriends of all time. This one you can deliberate on because I know this is hard.
My top number 1 is from a potentially problematic author. I don't know if she's problematic or not, but I love that character.
Let us hear it.
I don't really want to platform that. Yeah. Okay. Roman from Feathers That Bleed by Jess Wisecup. Not Feathers That Bleed, Feathers from the Sky.
Okay.
And then we'll go, well, shit. I thought that was going to be...
There's so many in the world to choose from.
There is. And I'm so incredibly picky about book boyfriends. Like, I don't give that title easily. I might like you. We might vibe for the pages.
Right.
If I close that book and I don't even remember your name, you're not a book boyfriend.
You're not a book boyfriend. Yeah.
You're not a book boyfriend. I need to remember your name when the night is done.
I love that.
Wow.
Absalom
from Black Sunshine, obviously.
Yeah, I do. I fear I do love him a little bit.
Yeah. I hate his name.
Me too.
I hate his name. In my head, his name is Abe.
Yeah.
Korean, but his name is Abe.
That's it.
Fun story. She purchased the omnibus for me at Stimulant, and I'm 99.9% sure that in my signing, because I put Sal's okay, but he's no Absalon, and then I signed it. I am 99.9% certain I misspelled his name because in my head his name is Abe.
Abe, right, yeah. That's so funny. I love Sal though.
Okay, Roman. Hold on, I've got books over there on that couch.
Add them real quick.
Ah, shit.
She didn't know there'd be a test.
Right, I know. I'm sorry.
Do I get to pick one of my own?
Absolutely.
Yes. Chino and Raphael from Obsidian Feathers. I love them. Okay. Like baby angels. They will never be main characters because I am mean to my main characters and nothing can touch them ever. I love them.
Okay, I will give you that one. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
There, we did it.
Yeah, we did it. We got there in the end. Yeah. And what was the name of the first book? Because I don't think I know that one.
Roman is the main character, the main love interest's name, and it's Feathers from the Sky by Jess Wisecup. It is a plus-size romance between I'm trying to figure out how to say this politely, a death-obsessed, personal death-obsessed huntress and a very angry vampire. And it is very good.
Let me go ahead and write that down. Yeah, I'm very interested.
It's real
I love me a vampire.
Yeah, real good.
Love me a vamp. Yeah.
I'm kind of in my vampire era right now, so
I never left.
Yeah.
Entered in at 12. Never left.
Twilight. She's addicted to Twilight.
Vampires were my first mythological creature. Like some people got obsessed with unicorns. Some people mermaids. Vampires were mine. So I never left either, but I'm in my vampire era because I'm technically plotting not the book that's next, but the book after that, which is a vampire one.
Right.
You're thinking one step ahead, and I'm ready for that.
I can't wait. I love vampires. And yes, I mean, you definitely lots of fantasy, Rex. So is there a specific author that got you hooked on paranormal or like the fantasy genres? Do you remember you read someone, you were like, okay, this is it. This is it for me.
Tolkien.
Oh, yes. I'm a Tolkien girly too.
Mm-hmm. So
I love that.
The very first time I remembered an author's name, because I've always been a prolific reader, but the very first time I remembered an author's name enough that it stuck with me was Tolkien. The next time that really happened for me was Jacqueline Carey. And then there's another author in there that we don't talk about him anymore. He's a no, but he was also very, he helped me understand that crafting a unique voice as an author where anyone can pick up your book and flip to whatever page and read 5 pages and go, I know the exact author that wrote this because your voice as an author is so strong. He showed me what that actually looks like. We don't talk about him. He's a no-name person now, but he was very formative on me both as a reader and as a writer.
Now, 3 of your words, you have that. I can tell when I'm reading your books. The way you write, the poetry, the beats, the descriptors, the flow of the story, and how you describe scenes and characters, how you have the characters described. You have that where I could flip through and be like, who wrote this? I know who did this. Somebody cooked here. Yeah. So yeah, totally. And I love that, even though I don't know who this author is. And, if we're not going to talk about him, we're not going to talk about him. But I do love that you took that message because that's something you can apply and really learn something and grow as an author with. To just keep in mind. So
yeah, and I'm always trying to refine that and find more of who I am, both as an author, but who I want to read me? Who do I want to sit down with my books and have them deeply resonate with them?
Yeah.
I welcome all readers, obviously, but there are some people who I want to pick up my book, sit down, and nearly vibrate with how much they are seeing themselves in the characters. And that's who I write for. Everybody else is welcome to read it, but that's who I'm writing for.
Yeah, that's actually so sweet. That's so tender.
You're like, who is this person? Because that's not who I see on my pages.
Because that's not what I read in mine. Okay.
Listen,
mine had me like
shooketh.
Here, standing up. I'm reading. I'm like, somebody in here, like very much so torturing myself to finish it, and very scared, very concerned about what I was reading, but also
like, afraid to turn the page.
Next? Yeah. So hearing you say that, thank you. Trying to align the people here.
Listen, if Beyonce can have Sasha Fierce, I can have Rose Reaper.
Period. Rose Reaper is your alter ego, and we love her.
If you thought that the cannibalism scenes in Obsidian Feathers were too much, don't even acknowledge Rose Reaper with exists.
Don't. Because comparatively, the cannibal scene in Obsidian Feathers just felt, oh, we're having lunch. Oh, this is a cute little ceremony compared to what you get in mine. Mine is, what is happening here? Why are we doing this? Please stop. So, yeah. Stay away from Rose if that's not your thing.
Yeah, mine was writing mine. Okay, so mine started because Jessie, who is exclusive Palm Beach Living, she actually sent me a link and she was like, hey, just being cute, but if you were interested in writing erotic horror, here's this anthology that's coming up. Just saying. And she sent it to me. And I was like, I mean, I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I read it. And she's like, I would love to see you in this anthology. And I was like, God damn it, Jessie.
You're right. Oh, peer pressure, like, not peer pressure.
And she can peer pressure me. She is like one of the few who can genuinely peer pressure me. And I sat there and I was like, okay, I read the rules. I was like, 10K. I can do that. Sure, I can do that. And then I sat down and I was like, what do I want to do with this? And I just, fuck it, I'm just going to start writing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start writing and see where it goes. And the more I wrote, the more I was like, oh, this can never leave my computer. Never. This can never leave my computer. I mean, I'm going to finish it because what the fuck am I on about?
Yeah.
All right. And but I'm like, this is going in a password protected file and it's being buried. And my dev editor, who is Lizzie Stromp, who also decided to apply for the anthology with me, was like, because we do sprints together, writing sprints. And she's like, you need to show me this. Because if you are disturbed by this, I need to read this.
Right.
And I sent it to her and she was, I will break every last one of your fingers and eat your shins if you do not publish this.
Well, I mean, yeah, thank God for her because it is horrific. Okay, but in the best way.
It got declined from the anthology, obviously, because it was a little too extreme.
I'm sure they couldn't handle it. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's tough, but I'm happy you released it yourself.
Yeah, I had to, because at that point it was like, okay, I have something here then.
Yeah.
Because if this anthology of horror writers turned erotic horror writers can't handle this, and I want to say, for those of you who are listening, mine is not spooky. It is not spooky jump scare. It is just gruesome. Mm-hmm. It is gruesome and will make you question yourself on every page.
Yes.
Every single page you flip will make you go, am I okay with this? What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why am I okay with this?
Why can't I stop?
Yes, exactly. That was me. Hey, target audience here. That was me. That was me reading mine. Because it is super gruesome, but for me, it just I the whole time I was reading, I just, why do I keep reading it? At any point, I could have said, you know what, this ain't for me. This is a little too much. maybe this isn't something I can hang with. But again, I think that's also a testament to your writing. I was invested in the characters. I wanted to know the lore. I wanted the backstory. How did we get here? Like, why is this happening? You know? And first of all, erotic horror itself as a genre trips me out because I'm like, should I be afraid? And like when things,
I'm horny and scared.
And you're right. So, and I think that's where the deep questioning of myself comes into play because I'm like, I'm scared, but I like it. A little bit, I like it. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, but I'm scared. So this is just too much. So yeah, I don't know. I think again, yeah, it's just your writing. The way you write, still, I want to read it. I don't care if I'm scared and horny. Like, I want to read it, I guess. Something. I love it.
And horny, and we'll call it scorny. We're scorny.
Yeah, scorny. We're very
scorny here.
Very scorny.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mine, I will be honest, I was genuinely terrified to publish mine. Yeah. Genuinely terrified. Because
what has the feedback been?
So I don't read my reviews. Let me say that
for you. Love that.
I don't even know. Goodreads is the bad place. I don't even know my password to log in. We don't know her. We don't know her.
We protect ourselves.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
I am fully okay with the fact that at my grown age, I can't read that because it affects my writing. Not because I want to lash out at that person, but because I internalize it and it harms my writing. So I choose not to engage with it. I don't know what the negative side of it is. Now my PA will pull positive reviews for me and will make content for social media for me from it. So a lot of people have said it reminds them of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I'm not worthy. A lot of people
it does, though. Yeah.
Yeah. It does. A lot of people have said that it reminds them of Edgar Allan Poe, which again, I'm not worthy.
I love Edgar. I see the connection. Yes. Yes.
One person said that it reminded them of the actual book, The Fly, versus the movie, The Fly, which I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't see that, but okay. But a lot of people have been really receptive to the fact that at first they are not down with it because of the whole scene we're dropped into.
Right, exactly.
But by the time they get to the end, they're like, I need to reread this because I need to see them suffer again.
Yes. That's how I felt at the end as well. Yeah, when you first open it, we're starting with a bang, quite literally. So you're just, no, my stomach hurts. I'm going to vomit. And yeah, you're right. By the end of it, I was like, yeah, they deserved it.
Roll that shit again. We need to see them
run the tapes. Yeah. I love that. I know. I went into a whole deep dive.
But it was scary because it's so not what I've written before. And it was training wheels off, balls to the wall, full on. I'm not going to pull any punches because there are plenty of spots in Obsidian Feathers where I was like, ooh, I need to polish off that sharp edge because dark romance readers and dark fantasy romance readers are not going to be okay with that. Let me polish that down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do that at all for mine. I said, okay, no, you're gonna suck it up. If you want the hurt, you're gonna get this hurt.
Yeah.
And I didn't pull any punches. Yeah. None.
So I have a question for you. Do you have any favorite reads from the last year you'd like to share with us?
Favorite read from last year? Yes. Good Morning, Darling by Azalea Crowley.
Know that one. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. Good Morning, Darling.
So Good Morning, Darling by Azalea Crowley is Azalea Crowley's books are, she calls them cozy horror romance. And
what a genre.
Yeah, and she does it really well. And that's exactly what it is. It mixes the coziness of monster romance with the horror elements of some of your more paranormal horror books. And when I say horror, I mean Interview of the Vampire level horror, not line level horror.
Line horror, yeah.
Entry level horror. And all of her books are romance books. So Good Morning, Darling is about she's going to hate this when she hears this, a Peter Pan style demon. And when I say Peter Pan style, I mean him and his shadow disagree on a lot of things.
Okay.
And his shadow is an animate creature, a sentient creature. And he falls in love with the daughter of the owner of a funeral home that he works for, that he's indebted to.
And
it's
so
very interesting.
Yeah, but it also sounds very cozy.
It's very cozy.
That sounds when you take out the others, but yeah, that sounds like the makings of a cozy romance. It's always something very close, like a little small town. I work here, you work there, we run into. So yeah, that part I can see the cozy element.
Yeah. So Good Morning, Darling. So Azalea Crowley is one of my favorite authors I do it, what I call is the sweet and sour approach when I read I like to read something really soft and cozy and sweet and then turn around and read the most stank, just diabolical, horrific.
That's Jordan.
Dark romance.
I was just about to say that's Jordan.
Yeah. I like to keep the toxicity of dark romance toxic, but if you read too much of it, you get numbed by it. So I like
cleanser.
Balance it with this.
Yeah, Jordan always needs a palate cleanser.
Yes, it's a palate cleanser. And Azalea Crowley is one of my favorite authors for that. She's about to come out with a new one called, it's Wicked Taste, something like that, which is another demon. And this one, I actually call Azalea Crowley's books hot pink horror romance, because it's if Lisa Frank wrote a horror novel, but added romance. It's fantastic. Highly recommend the new one. I haven't read yet, but I've read the blurb, and the new one looks fantastic, and it is already pre-ordered.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh.
She's one of my pre-order, of course.
Immediately. Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah. As soon as
add to cart.
Yeah. If there's something new, that's mine. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
What about anyone else? Any other books, or do you think we should start with Azalea Crowley?
Azalea Crowley. Let's see. Jess Weisskopf's coming out with the second book for that Feathers from the Sky book that I was talking about earlier, the vampire one. I want to read it. I haven't bought it yet, but I want to read it. Callista Neath came out with a succubus, an enemies to lovers succubus book, I think it was. I would have to remember the name, but it looks fantastic. Fantastic.
That sounds
Empress.
I love succubus.
So Callista Neath does Invoking the Blood and Trial of Bone and Lace and Bone, or something like that, Bone and Lace.
Yeah.
Fantastic books. Vampires. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
But she came out with a new book outside of the Invoking the Blood series, and it looks so good. It's not Whispers in the Dark. It's Cruel Obsession or something like that. Looks fantastic. It's on her Instagram. I highly recommend Callista's writing. If you like my writing, Callista's writing is better. It's fantastic.
Oh, I love that. That's so nice. That's a good. Yeah, I'm going to add all of those. Exactly. We love a good rec on the pod. Callista Neath. Cool. Not me adding cozy horror and
more books for never ending.
Yeah. TBR is a hell at this point. Yeah. All right. So mine, erotic horror, Salt Road, erotic horror. You've written a couple erotic horror stories. How is the process of writing those? Do you ever, you've mentioned polishing off certain things when you get there, but have you ever gotten to a line and was like, no, that is too much. I cannot do that. Have you done it anyway?
Yes. Yeah.
She saw the red flag and walked right past it.
Oh my God, what a nice shade.
So mine was that. Mine was, I am not comfortable writing this. I'm going to keep writing it. That was literally the writing process for mine was, I am very uncomfortable right now. I am very uncomfortable. I don't like what is coming off of my fingers. It's good. God damn it. Right. It's good.
So good.
But I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
And the more I was uncomfortable, the more I pushed through and made it more uncomfortable for me. So that was fun and interesting because it was very much a challenge to myself to go, okay, I see that you're uncomfortable. And what?
Right.
You keep moving.
Womp womp.
Keep going.
What's on the other side of this discomfort?
Yeah. Keep making it more uncomfortable. And I'm very uncomfortable even reading that book now. I'm just like, who allowed me? Who allowed me to write this with my own fingy on purpose? I like to say that mine is the reason why I no longer get acrylic nails, because I've shamed them. It's the last book that I wrote with my acrylic nails. I can't read it anymore. I just did bad things.
the magic is still there. It might be unleashed if your acrylics touch a keyboard again. We have to contain it.
And then Salt Road was more of guided horror. So mine was like I was left unattended and bad things happen.
Someone put a keyboard in front of her.
Somebody put a keyboard in front of me and I was irresponsible with that. The Salt Road was more... So I had been technically writing the Salt Road in my head the entire time I was writing City and Feathers because Sochi has so much trauma that I needed to know what that trauma was and how that trauma happened. So I was taking notes the entire time I was writing of City and Feathers. So Salt Road was a natural write for me because I had already had those notes. I already knew what happened. It was just finding the appropriate framework to show 27 years or 30 years of trauma and how on those incidents and how they played out and figuring out the appropriate framework to show that because that's a lot of time. Yeah. So writing the Salt Road was more of, okay, does this horror, because I'm very meticulous about the way I craft my stories, does this make sense? Is this does this have a purpose? If this piece does not make sense and it does not have a purpose, it does not move something along in the plot and or show something specific about the characters and or show how we're getting to the ultimate resolution of the plot, it doesn't stay in my books. So with the Salt Road, it was very much, okay, is this specific horror just something I'm enjoying writing? Or is this particular gruesome thing something that needs to be in the book in order to further the plot and to further show what we're trying to do here? And there were several chapters that got carved off because they weren't serving that purpose. They were just revenge porn for me.
It's okay. Is this necessary? No, but at least I wrote it.
I wrote it. It was necessary for me to write at the time, but it's not necessary for the book.
Right.
So I think that there was a total of 5 chapters that got taken out simply because it was filler, and I don't like filler in my books.
Everything is used, like you said, to move something along or to explain or to shed light on something. So I think we appreciate that in your writing for sure.
That is good because sometimes you're just reading, you're like, what is this?
Yeah,
why did we even care about this? Yeah. That happens a lot in books. So thank you for doing
the Lord's work.
Taking that out. Yeah, doing the Lord's work.
The thing I hate as a reader is I literally just gave you my eyeballs for 50 minutes of bullshit it doesn't matter.
Never will come up again.
You wasted my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hate that as a reader, so I try not to do that as a writer. Now, there are a lot of times when as a writer, I'm just writing and that's fluff. And and on the read out before it goes to my editor, I'll start just cutting those things out.
Yeah.
But I needed to write it at the time. It doesn't mean it needs to stay in the book though.
So I have one more question for you. As an indie author, what has been the hardest part about getting your stories out into this world, into our world, getting your world into ours?
Right.
All right, y'all want secrets? Deep secrets?
Absolutely.
Develop.
Since it's just those 3 and nobody else is listening.
Right. You're among friends. Jordan's not even here.
Jordan's not even really here. Okay, so I have had an incredibly blessed path through publishing. I have not hit a whole lot of potholes or obstacles. Everything that I have encountered has been something that I could navigate around. So I cannot say that there was anything that for me was too big. Everything else, like little shit. But I have a lot of author friends. And one of the biggest things that they have told me that is their biggest problem is the way they want to present themselves, the way they want to show up, and what their wallet can afford and support are 3 different things. They're not even 2 different things. They're 3 different things. So I'm working on a project with 3 of my friends, and we are working on putting together a nonprofit charity in which once a year authors will come together and we will create an anthology, and 100% of the proceeds of that anthology will go to a debut indie author who will apply. Every author that participates will give every single debut author that participates and that submits feedback to help them grow their career. Whether or not they win, they'll still get feedback from a published author, somebody who already has experience in the industry and specifically within the genre they want to write and publish in. They'll get feedback from them on the first 10,000 words of their manuscript, their finished manuscript. And one author will get 100% of that pot or 100% of their publishing fees, from cover to editing to PR to everything.
Wow.
Fully published, fully funded.
Amazing.
And then if the pot has more, then the second best author in that will get that. And it'll keep rolling down until we completely zero out the pot. And then the next year we'll do the same thing. So I'm working on that because I know for a fact how much money really impacts how you show up as an author.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel like how many indie authors I know still, even after 4 or 5 years of publishing, cannot show up the way they want to show up in front of readers, cannot put out the quality of art, the quality of covers, the quality of editing, the quality of audiobook, or whatever quality that they want, even after 4 or 5 years in the industry, because of money. Right. And I know how important that is for a debut.
Oh my God, that's such a good secret. That is so, I mean, honestly, that is something that's so amazing, because as someone who eventually wants to be a debut indie author, just knowing that there are other authors out there even thinking like that. Like, I haven't even, first of all, my stories are not even finished yet. Like, I have not hit the end. So I have not even taken the 2 cells of brain power I have to think of how much it's going to cost me to put this in the world. But just knowing that there's someone else, like, understanding that plight, especially when I've heard many indie authors. So I love supporting indie authors, but that is a running theme, that it's really hard. It's difficult financially. And, you take on you want these words out there, but then you have this burden of like, how do we get there? How do I get from point A to point B? Yeah, I really love that you're doing that. That just, oh man, that gave me chills. Like, I'm really excited about that. So thank you for sharing that with us. I can't wait to see as that develops, right? Yeah. We love that.
Next year will probably be our first year. We're trying to do it right. We're trying to do it right. Like, we're setting up the nonprofit. We're setting up the business, like the business aspect behind it. And we're trying to make sure that the things that we can think of, we know for a fact we're going to make mistakes the first year. We know for a fact. Like, we have all come to terms with the fact that there is going to be a big mistake the first year. It happens.
Right. Yeah.
We
learning
can't think of everything. So, but while we're working on trying to think through all of those potentials, we're trying to make sure that we're setting up a structure that will allow us to make as little mistakes as possible. We're not going to make the dumb mistakes of, hey, this is a Black author and she wrote a Black ass story and it's only being judged by white ass authors. We're not making that mistake. That's
Period.
a fundamental mistake.
Period.
That's a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're not doing that. But those nuanced mistakes or things we can't foresee happening, we have a plan on how to deal with that. But we're trying our best to like really think those things out first.
Right. Yeah. I think the goal and the intention is definitely going to speak volumes. There are growing pains with any large and new venture. So hopefully everyone else will give you guys the grace to execute this the way that, you want to, and the way you want to show up for these indie authors, so that they won't hold you too, I don't know,
stupid
harshly
standards.
Judge you. Yeah. I'm trying to be nice. Yeah, because I think that would be great. I think so many people would benefit from it. And
yeah, please keep us updated on that.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking out for that for sure.
Just
share that.
Big
things, big announcements, rollout, full red carpet. Yeah. And we'll be sure to share that with our readers as well. And then, Anne, is there anything else you wanted to share with us, or any tidbit? If there's any secrets you want to spill, we'll collect all the secrets. Any oaths you'd like to sign?
Really bad about secrets. Let's see. Okay, so we know that I'm writing the second book for ADOSH. That's what I'm working on right now. Do you want to know what the 2 after that are?
Yes.
Yes.
Immediately, yes.
Okay.
Spectacular. Give me 14 of them.
Okay. So the one immediately after that, and this is all assuming that the world of Adash does not explode and I'm being shackled to my computer misery style and forced to write the next book of that world. Because that world is so huge and so deep and so rich that I could write probably 1,000 books off of it. Sure. If that doesn't happen.
Right.
The next book is about a girl, and this is pure fantasy. Like up until now, I've mostly done, we start in the real world and then we go into Fantasyland.
Yeah.
This starts in Fantasyland. There's a girl who grew up in a fertility temple where all the priestesses have a ton of kids and nobody knows who the moms actually are because they're all moms. And in a bit of rebellion, she pledges to a death god, and the death god tells her, if you can get me a sacrifice every night for 3 years, and the final sacrifice being you, I will marry you and you will be my bride and we will take over the world together. Okay. Yeah. We're not even there yet. Madam. So the book starts off 2.5 years into her accomplishing this.
Good Lord.
She's already 2.5 years deep and she's close to fit to her goal. And because of that, holy paladins have started roaming the world. People are becoming scarce because they're not easy to find because they're roaming around in groups or being escorted by holy paladins because nobody knows what the hell is going on. They just know that people are fucking dying and they don't know why. An unimaginable amount of people are fucking dying and nobody knows why or who the murderer is. So she falls in with this group of holy paladins that is looking for the murderer that keeps killing people and sacrificing them to the dark god. The holy paladin leader guy falls in love with her and is trying to seduce her. Meanwhile, she's in love with the death god and is trying to seduce the death god while trying to escape him.
This is like a Mari episode in the Fae realm. Things are happening. Everyone's coming on stage and they're like, now this is happening and this is, you don't know what's happening.
Yes. So that's
fair. Okay. Yeah, I'm into it. This is going to be psychotic. I can't wait. The games that can be played, the mind maneuvering, the stealth, the stabbiness.
The paladin guy doesn't know he's trying to find her.
Right.
He just knows that this cute girl joined his group.
She's so cute.
And he's escorting her to the next big city. And she's super cute and sweet. Yeah. She could never be anything but very much a delicate flower.
Love
she's
that.
very easily bruised. Meanwhile, she's sneaking off at night, murdering fucking people and having sex with death gods in dark wood. Meanwhile, he thinks she's not giving up the boot because she's a virtuous girl.
So virtuous.
Is just so delicate and virtuous.
Yeah. She's just a flower. Meanwhile, she's in the woods. I love that. Oh, the duality of a woman.
Skeletons that she dug up out of the ground.
Jesus Christ. I can't wait to meet her. Love her already. Can't wait to meet her. Yeah.
And then the one after that is the vampire book where she is part of a scribe family. Like their whole purpose is their sacred purpose and their sacred job is to keep the records of these families that have magic blood that are like magical and they're like the rulers of the aristocracy of the kingdom. And for some reason, this bloodline's starting to get thin because people keep dying. And she doesn't like it because it's fucking up her records. Right. Her records say they are supposed to live another 50 years. Why is this baby gone?
Yeah.
This is fucking up.
She's this is a mystery.
Very upset about it. Turns out vampires who became addicted to blood because this aristocracy line has a specific component in their blood that makes vampires high. So they're druggies.
Not the druggy vampires. It's crazy. You know, I love this. I'm already seeing things she could be saying. She's such a studious person. She's like, my calculations. Yeah. You should be alive. Where are you? Right. Now we're on a little quest.
Listen,
now I'm on a mission.
They already had 7 vellum books crafted and placed on your shelf. You are supposed to fill these books. Yes. What is going on? You only Your quota is not filled. Why are you missing? Why are you dead?
I love that.
She's upset that her records are being fucked up.
Right. That's exactly what I'm doing. She don't care about these people. She just want to know why things aren't going the way they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Wow, I was not expecting those two big secrets, but now us and all the people listening know those secrets. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I'm unhinged.
Yeah,
the books are.
I appreciate that.
This is so exciting. Cannot wait.
I know.
When's it coming?
I know.
So the next book in ADOSH, which is a Dance of Broken Shackles, comes out March 28th of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
The Death Fucker, who I don't even know what the title of that is yet.
Right.
She comes out March 28th of 2027. And then the Cleric, or the Paper Pusher, she comes out March 28th of 2028.
I love that. We love the March 28th. That's a theme. So just, whatever year you're in, just check what's happening on March 28th to see what the vibes are.
I will always be putting out a full-length book on March 28th.
March 28th.
Novellas and small short stories, those happen as I decide to write them. But you can find me on most social media sites as author N. Caceres. So author N-C-A-C-E-R-E-S. You can find me on most socials. I am not on TikTok. Me and TikTok had a breakup. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not good at social media. I'm really not. I'm just not. If I can't schedule it on Metricool, I'm not there. I'm not there.
I love that.
I can't do it. I want to. I wish I had the time and the energy. I just can't. But you can find me on most social medias at author N. Caceres. Author N. Caceres. I predominantly hang out on Threads, but if you go to any of my social media profiles and you click on the link in my bio, there's also a link to my Discord, and you can join my Discord, and I'm a lot more active there, and you can talk to me directly. I also have a pretty safe and inclusive and encouraging community there, so you're welcome to join that as well. But those are the two. Threads and Discord are really the two best places if you want to interact with me, but I'm present on most other places.
Awesome.
Thanks for sharing. Cool. And to our listeners, thanks for listening to us ramble with N. Caceres about her book. If you're looking for more Romance Rex, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Romance Rex Pod. You can find our favorite book recs from our episodes as well as behind the scenes content. Again, that's at Romance Rex Pod. So make sure to give us a follow. And follow our friendly author here, because y'all probably want to stay posted on a couple of things that were shared. The current books that are out, definitely check them out. Be warned about mine. Really check out ADOSH when it comes out on the 28th. But make sure you're keeping up with us on Romance Rex Pod, and make sure to give us another follow. We'll be back in another week with another episode.
Thank you so much for coming to talk with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.